Okay. We'll kind of do a slow roll into the intro as more people join us, but certainly want to be respectful of your time today. We are incredibly glad that you are joining us for our first Child Hunger Action Team meeting of 2021. We're still kind of in the same space that we've been in most of 2020. So I'm grateful to be able to connect with you all today. And the good thing about doing what we're doing and doing it on Zoom is that so many people are able to come now that weren't able necessarily to make it all the way down to a meeting that we had. So trying to find some silver linings, some positive moments in throughout the day. So that's mine. It's nice to have you all here and nice to have some great representation from all across the area. As we get started, I certainly want to ask that if you could, I know so many people have put your names in the chat or said good morning. Would love for you to kind of do it again and make sure that we know who you're with and where you're from and kind of making those connections so that we just have everybody's information and can connect. You see someone on there that you need to reach out to or maybe remind you. I always appreciate that, being reminded of what I forgot. So maybe this chat can help us with those connections, but grateful again for you all being here. As normal, I'm sure you hear this at every Zoom meeting or Teams meeting or whatever meeting it is, but we'll ask that everyone stays on mute for the first part. We are going to have time for discussion at the end, so we'll certainly talk through that once we get there. But if you could stay on mute right now, if you have any questions that pop up, please feel free to use that chat. We'll be monitoring it and really keeping track of it. Feel free to add any information that you hear or put in other, if we've missed something or questions or other insightful, helpful info, we'd love it. And the chat is a great way so we can scroll back up and see what we might have missed early on. But we are just grateful that you're here. And we know that everyone is juggling a million balls right now. And we're just grateful to be able to take this time to share some struggles that we're all facing, highlight some great wins that we've had, and truly work together to address child hunger throughout Dallas County. My name is Jenny Iyer. I am the Vice President of Health Strategies at the American Heart Association over in our North Texas office. So looking at several counties, but have been a part of the chat team and the Dallas Coalition for Hunger Solutions team for, oh goodness, a long time. I won't say how many, you can just guess that it's not been, I'm still 25, right? So it's only been a few years. No, for almost the whole time. So about 9 years, and just grateful to be a part of this and grateful for the work that you've done, that we've been able to do through this group. So I kind of wanted, when we were planning for this meeting, I thought it might be kind of fun to kind of remind us of the great things that this group has been able to do and help us help to guide our conversation today and to guide us into really what our focus for chat will be in these upcoming months and maybe even further than that. Dallas Coalition for Hunger Solutions is a coalition that brings together entities from all across the county. We have action teams that are listed on this slide, focusing from our older senior population to our very youngest children, which we're here now. We work in the urban agriculture sector, in the policy sector, in the faith sector, and really come together to address in a collaborative effort hunger and how we can, each of those different communities has different needs. And so how do we address those and learn from each other? And this is a space to be able to share good things and to talk about hurdles and hear how other people might have addressed them and how we can move and continue to move forward to reduce hunger. And obviously, where we are right now, hunger has taken a complete spin, and we're seeing numbers of hunger and numbers just increase exponentially higher than we have seen in so long. And so wanted to take this time to remind us of what we've done in chat and to also use today's meeting to really guide our focus for these next few months. We originally came together in this chat to address the Child and Adult Care Food Program in Dallas ISD, working hand in hand with their nutrition department, who came to us saying, we would love some help in getting the word out. They have so many schools, and getting the word out to principals about this wonderful program and how we could increase participation of schools and of kids. We had great success expanding access in Dallas ISD, that we were able to then the next year use the chat team to focus our efforts in Garland ISD, where we again worked with the nutrition department, met with school principals to share with them about CACFP and what was needed for the district to be able to provide those meals at their local school and how it would be beneficial. And we were able to expand the program in Garland ISD. And then we kind of took a step back and tried to think of, okay, what's the next, where's our next move? What is it still focusing in CACFP? Is it focusing in a different school district? What will that look like? And then COVID happened, and the needs of our community have completely changed. The needs of each of you and your organizations have completely changed. And so we understand that what we're operating in, the world that we're operating in, is just incredibly different than where we were last year. And it could very well be incredibly different than where we are a year from now. But we wanted to take today's meeting to share a couple of things that we think could be helpful, some marketing tools that we know that some organizations could use some help with, and would also love to use this last bit of the meeting to get your thoughts on the needs that you have and to find the commonalities in those needs, and to be able to come back and think through how chat might be able to really address that, so that we can find a goal that we can really work towards in these next few months, and see how we can really make a dramatic impact on child hunger in our community. So with that, I'm going to toss it to my just absolutely amazing partner in all of this chat work, Taylor Hanna, and let her take it from here and kind of go through a little bit of what we're doing, just a highlight of Padlet, because I am not an expert in Padlet, but Taylor is. So I'll toss it to Taylor, and then she didn't know she was an expert, but now she is being called an expert. But just to kind of give you a little bit about what we'll do towards the end, and then we'll get started through the meeting. But thank you for joining us, and we look forward to working together to address child hunger. Oh no, Taylor, we can't hear you. No. I know it was going to be a phenomenal introduction, though. Oh no, now I have to be the expert in Padlet, which I am not. I'll let Taylor, oh, she's gonna plug in. So we're gonna get to Padlet in a second, but I'll just kind of give you the info real quick that the link to Padlet is up above in your chat. If you scroll all the way up, Kristen put it in, and we're going to use this to really kind of focus on some questions and answer some questions that we have for you all, so that we can find really some of those commonalities of some needs that everyone is needing and having, and so that we can use these meetings to provide you with tools that, such as what we'll talk about today with some social media marketing. If there's other information or tools and insight that would be helpful that we can bring to you all, we want to use this time for it. But then also finding what hurdles you have that maybe we can, as a group, as an action team, can really actually get into action and work to address them. Taylor, I'm gonna hand it back to you. No. Well, we'll see if I'll let Taylor introduce herself, but she is with the food bank, and we'll get back to Taylor after our short break. But I'll pass it to her comrades who with the food bank that are going to highlight some of our marketing and social media training that we thought might be very helpful as we're, in a new age where we're not able to do the same type of things that we were able to do, to get the word out about our programs earlier. So I will pass it to you, Madison. I think you might be up, and we'll go from there. Thank you all so much. Oh, not Madison.
I was about to say, I think it's me that's up.
It's you get to take it.
Awesome. Well, hi guys, my name is Liana Solis. I am a communication specialist here at the North Texas Food Bank. I'm super excited to be here with you guys and have the opportunity to kind of share some quick tips just on how to best reach your audience on social media. I know, and I'm sure all of you know, that social media is a beast in itself and it can be very confusing. It is ever changing. But I just wanted to be able to give you some tips that you can use that were more evergreen that you can use no matter what you're posting about. The presentation will mainly focus on Facebook since that's what a lot of people are using, but there are also some tips that will apply to Instagram and Twitter as well, since those seem to be the main sources that people are using. So Kristen, do you mind going to the next slide? All right, so tip number 1, make sure your website or your main source of information is always up to date. This might seem like an obvious thing, but especially if you're posting updates on social media and referring people to your website or a main source of information that you're giving to people, and that is out of date, it's going to send confusing messages on your social media. So you always want to make a priority to update your website or whatever you're using to refer to people before you post anything on social media. That way you can make sure everything that you're posting is very coherent. It's all the same. It's not going to send any confusing messages to anyone. And especially if you plan to post about it on social media, you'll definitely want to make sure that those sites are up to date for people to be able to view and look at everything. Next slide. Tip number 2, have at least one specific day to post updates, schedules, whatever your choosing is on social media or your website, and stick to that as possible. The reason why I give this suggestion is if you start to get into a routine of posting a certain schedule on a certain day, posting updates about a certain event, people will come to expect it, especially if they know, okay, on Tuesdays at this time, this is always posted. They'll naturally gravitate towards whatever social media channel you want them to use to be able to get that information. One example I have is our mobile pantry schedule. Once the pandemic hit, we just started noticing mobile pantry was really what people needed, and that was the information they needed of where we were going to be. So we started posting our mobile pantry schedule at noon every Sunday, and like clockwork, people began to go to our social media because they were expecting to see that schedule there for the week. So just if it's easier for you to be able to do that, if you have schedules or updates you want to make on a weekly basis, it's easier to post them on the same day and the same time. Just make sure that if you're doing that, you're sticking to what you're telling people and making sure that's actually being posted at that time and during that day, because people will naturally, like I said, gravitate towards that to get that information. Next slide. All right, 3, watch your wording when posting. So obviously, especially with everything going on right now, there's so many changes, so many things happening. So just make sure if you have to post a correction, if you have to post an additional site location, if you have to post something like that, just treat it as an opportunity. If you have to post about a new site, say, hey, we have this great new opportunity. Here's a place for you to go and do this. If you have to post a correction, just say, we noticed that this was listed wrong here. We wanted to make sure we are providing you with accurate information. And if you treat each of those as an opportunity, as a win, people will see it in a more positive light. Obviously, we know cancellations, changes, those kind of things happen. So if you have to make a cancellation or make a correction, just make sure that you're being informative, but also compassionate. We know for us, when we have to post mobile pantry cancellations, it can be hard for some people because they were expecting to go there to get food, but we treat it as even though this is canceled, here's a great place you can go to get food to as well. So make sure you're offering an alternative option. And this may sound like an odd suggestion, but only apologize if necessary. If you say, we're sorry about this, we want to apologize for this, every time things happen, people will start to come to expect that from you. And you don't want to have to apologize just for little mistakes happening. Obviously, things happen. We're human beings. So just be able to say, this site's canceled, here's where you can go instead. This event's canceled, here's what you can do instead, without apologizing every time you have to post something. Next slide. So tip number 4, post in advance, but not too far in advance. So unless you're planning for a big event or something big that's happening, people typically only plan their weeks about 1 week at a time. So it's safe to plan to post things about a week at a time. If you know you have an event coming up or know you have a webinar coming up, posting about a week at a time will help people plan their schedules around that better. Now, obviously, we know sometimes you have to post farther in advance if you want people to sign up for something, for instance, if you want to get more reaction. And that's okay if you have to post farther than a week in advance. But if you do that, just make sure you're posting reminders with it. So if you post, you can see the example on the right, we had a workshop that we posted about at the beginning of the month, but it wasn't till the end of the month. So we just make sure that we're posting a reminder on your social media. Hey, we wanted to remind you, you still have a chance to sign up for this thing that's happening tomorrow, next week. Just make sure you're keeping with posting reminders if you're planning something a little bit far out in advance, whether it's a webinar, a gala, a site, anything like that. It's just nice for people to have reminders so they can go back to what they were planning to do. Next slide. Okay, tip number 5, find out when your social media audience is online and interacting and post then. I know analytics might seem super confusing and super complicated, but I promise they definitely don't have to be. I'm just going to show you some quick tips that you can use specifically on Facebook and some on Instagram that you can use to look at. This is the biggest advice I give to people, is to find out when your audience is online. Because if you're posting when people are online, more people are going to see it. More people are going to be able to come to whatever you're trying to get them to come to if they're seeing whatever that post is. So if you see on the main slide right here, if you go to the manage page, which is just, if you have an admin on Facebook, you'll see that main page that has all of that kind of stuff in there. And you'll just click on Insights. And once you click on that, you'll see the middle part. It comes up with all these different tabs you can look at. But the one we're going to be looking at is Posts. If you click on that, you'll see this little, almost like a graphic chart that you'll see. And next slide, if you look, basically for us, you can see it posts the day of the week and the time that people are on. So you can see for us, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. is when our peak audience is on. So that means that's the time that we want our most important information to be able to get out to people. Now, a tip about this that I've kind of learned just in studying analytics and posting is it's better if you post right before your peak time. So if your peak audience is at 7 p.m., if you post at 6 p.m. or 6:30 p.m., that gives that post a little bit more time to be able to already get some likes, get some generation, comments, all of that kind of stuff going. That way, by the time your peak audience gets on, that post is already there, people are already interacting with it, and it's more likely to be able to get seen and get interacted with. Another update about this as of 2 days ago, which is actually, I prepared this presentation and then this happened and I was like, oh goodness. So apparently Europe basically has a new law that they've passed that people, they're kind of limiting the amount of people that can see this. So if you have any audiences that are in Europe, which some people might not apply to them. This tool might not be available right now while they try to get all that bugs and all that interactions fixed with Facebook, but hopefully soon that tool will be back up. And for most people that won't apply to it, but I just want to make a note in case you try to go and you aren't able to see that. Next slide. So here's how you can look at this for Instagram. Instagram also has a great tool for you to be able to look at insights and analytics of when people are online and everything. If you go to your main page and go to the, go to the Insights tab on your main page. This is for business accounts, I should say. It's super easy to sign up to get a business account if you don't have one. Instagram will walk you through how to do it if you go through the settings. So if you go to Insights, you'll kind of see that middle slide is all the overview of all the different things you could look at. And that very top one that says accounts reach is what you're going to want to click on, because that will show you how many people you're reaching and how many interactions you're getting on each day. So you can see for us on Sunday, we're getting a lot more interactions than other days. So that means whatever we're posting on Sunday is getting what we want people to see. And a lot of people are on in that day. So that means we need to keep up posting on those days for those different sites. So that's another tool that you can use. Instagram, I will note, also only does analytics about a week at a time. So if this is something that you're wanting the long run to look at tracking and figuring out where to look at interactions, just make sure you're manually tracking all of that information each week, because you're only going to see about a week back when you're looking at Instagram. Next slide. All right, and find out where your social media audience is coming from is tip 6. This is going back to the Facebook analytics tools that I was going to earlier. This is another great tool, because if you know how people are finding you on social media, you'll know where to put your resources and energy into if you want to get more followers and want to encourage people to be able to go to your social media. So you'll see right there that main manage tab, there's an Insights tab, and see those are all the ones we looked at before, and posts is what we clicked on before, but a little bit higher up is likes. And if you click on likes, this is kind of what the page will look like. And you're going to want to scroll to the very bottom of the page. Next slide. And at the very bottom of the page, you'll see where your page likes happen. This is a really cool tool because you can see on each individual day of all the likes you got, where they came from. So if you click on, you can see we have one specific day there that has a huge peak. Next slide, and we click on it and we're able to see where those all come from. So we were able to see on this day, people were searching for us, and that's how they liked us. And we found out that that day we happened to have an event that we were handing out a flyer that had our social media tags on it. So that means that worked, and that means we're going to want to input more information into that. If you find on a certain day, a lot of people are getting likes from your ads, that means that whatever ads you're running is working, and you're going to want to put more information into that. So just looking at how people are liking your social media will help you get more likes and put more energy into the areas that are getting you more attention on social media. Next slide. Tip 7, lean into the platforms and tools that work best for you. I think there's a big misconception that if I want audience on social media, I have to post on all these different channels. And that's not necessarily the case. You want to post where your audience is. So if you have all of your followers on Facebook and you have a large following there, then focus your energy there. If Instagram is what you're all about and that's where all your followers on, then focus your energy there. You don't necessarily have to focus all your energy into all these different platforms if only one of them is the one that you're getting your information from. Now, obviously, some sites might have different social media channels, but maybe not all their channels are, they want to be able to post information on it, but they don't want to focus certain things on that. So one tip I have is using those other social media sites to draw them towards where you want them to see. One example we have is we post videos every so often, and Instagram doesn't really get much reaction for videos for us. So we just use Facebook and Twitter. So every time we post a new video on Facebook or Twitter, we just post a fun graphic on Instagram that says, we have this great new video up, check out our official Facebook and Twitter to be able to view it. So that's a great tool for you to be able to use if you do have multiple channels that you need to put something on, but maybe don't want to focus on. You can say, check out our blank for more information about this. That's one easy tool that you can use to be able to direct people to the social media site that you want them to be directed to. Next slide. Right. Tip 8, use visual media when applicable. So why is visual media important? This might seem like some obvious information, but it adds another component to the story that you're trying to tell and connects dots. For the human brain, it's one thing to be able to read information, but to see a visual or see something to go along with it, it makes the brain more interested in what you're looking at. It also generally just makes these pages more visually appealing. If people are scrolling through your social media and they just see texts and links and not very stuff that's very attractive to the eyes, they're not going to be as interested. And so that visual element gives them something else to look at and something to be more interested in. And when necessary, it gives the viewer something to care about. If they see a picture of something that looks like them or looks like something they're interested in, it gives them more reason to look into it. It gives them more empathy to want to donate, those kind of things. It just makes them want to care about what you're actually posting about. People are also just more likely to see posts if they have a visual media attached to it. And by visual media, I mean photos, videos, those kind of things, just because of social media algorithms make it to where those kind of posts are shown more often. So if you're just posting posts that have just text or text and link, they're not going to be as seen just because of the algorithm is set up to where people aren't going to see that. So obviously you want people to see your content. So posting that visual content with it will help with that. Next slide. Tip 9, if you are using graphics, makes them interesting or eye-catching. So obviously, if you want to post a graphic or a photo to make something, make sure it's going to be something that people are going to like. People like fun colors, bright colors, very visual looking things that are easy to catch the eye, and that's big text, bright colors, relatable pictures. These are some examples I put of some things that like on the left, for the seedling workshop, we put a bright green plants and green text and something that will make people want to look and catch their eye when they're scrolling. For the middle picture, you can see that we have a family feature, and people might be scrolling, and people who have families are more instantly willing to stop because it's relatable to them. It's something that they can connect to. So that's an easy target there. For the right, we put NTFB closed in big letters on top of a graphic to post about a closing we had, because people are more likely to stop and stop scrolling if they see a big text and something sticks out of them to read whatever that text says. There's also, Facebook also has something, this might be a little complicated, so don't worry about too much about this, but it has something called the 80-20 rule. And basically that's that if you're posting graphics or pictures, 80% of that picture or graphic needs to be picture. It needs to be some kind of picture, and 20% needs to be text. So if you are doing that, just make sure that you're posting just very minimal text starting out. Sometimes if you've set a precedent of something that is going to have a lot of text, for us, that's our mobile pantry schedules, then people come to expect that's going to be a lot of text there. So they don't mind seeing all the text in that scene more often because people are looking for that. Next slide. Okay, and tip number 10, use free word sources to help you get your mission and the word out. So there are so many free resources available just for creating graphics on social media, to schedule social media, to do anything you kind of want to. I have a starter list right here that I can help you walk through some of these. Some of them do have paid features, but they have a lot of great free features that you could use for social media. The first top one I have is to create social media graphics. Basically, all of the pictures and graphics you saw in the presentation today were all created in PicMonkey. You don't have to have Adobe or some fancy software to be able to create that kind of stuff. And I use PicMonkey just because it's really quick, it's user-friendly, it's easy to use for me to go and create a quick graphic for social media. So PicMonkey and Canva is also a very similar tool to that has free features you can use to create social media graphics for your social media. To schedule social media posts, if you know you want to post something at 6 o'clock on a Saturday, but your business isn't open at that time, these are easy tools you can use to be able to schedule your social media ahead of time. So that way you don't have to worry about going and posting when you're not working. Buffer and Hootsuite are both have free for that. So it's a super great tool for you to be able to use for that. To create a social media calendar, these are super easy. Just use a schedule or calendar template in Google Sheets or in Word document. If you know a week from today, we have to post about this for people to be able to know information in time, put it on a schedule, plop it on a schedule. That way, you know, you can go back and look, hey, today I had scheduled, this is what I need to post about. And it'll just help you be able to track all of your social media better of when you're going to post it. And to get free IDs for posts and styles, this is a shameless social media plug, but you're welcome to follow us on Facebook or Instagram or all of our sites to get ideas. I also encourage you to just follow other accounts that are like what your business is or what your organization is, because if you're able to follow those and get ideas from them, you're going to get more ideas for social media posts and interesting ways to be able to pull from. So just know that obviously things work different for each organization, but it's always great to turn to other organizations or sites that are like yours to be able to get ideas from. So last slide, I put my email up here if y'all have any questions. I don't know if we have time to answer questions right now, but I'm happy to answer any that we have, and my email is there. I'm always available if you have any questions about anything we went over today. I know I sent a handout that I think was going to be sent out to everyone that will recap all the stuff we went over, because I know it was a lot of information, but I'm also just happy to answer questions anytime y'all have any.
Thank you so much. I'm checking. I want to go back. Please feel free to type any questions in the chat if you have them. I mean, I learned a lot. I clearly wasn't doing my own social media very well. I'll just kind of pause. I guess I do have a question with some of the programs that you mentioned. Are there fees for them? I know some of them are. How would you suggest people go about finding which one might work best for them? I know sometimes Canva is like a great option, but maybe not the best for everyone. I didn't know if you had any insight into where you would start, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously the sites that I listed specifically, I listed those ones because they have a lot. Not only is it free, but it has a lot of stuff you can get for free. They obviously all have paid features as well. But there are some sites that you can figure out pretty quickly. If you sign up for the free account, it's very limited to what you can do. And maybe if you're only wanting to create something super quick, then maybe that works for you. But some of the sites that I listed all have really great extensive options, for free stuff. So the best way that I can just recommend, honestly, is just trial and error, just trying out multiple things. And if they're all free, there's no harm in canceling your account if you find it doesn't work for you. So just test out what kind of works better for you and for the quickness that you need to work or the timeline that you have. And that's the best way that you can find which of those programs work for you.
Perfect. Social media is just where obviously everyone gets their information on regularly, right? Because it's so easy to see. It's in the palm of your hand, and so it's a great tool that absolutely we could use to get our message out about meals. And I loved your piece about not apologizing. I feel like not using it to apologize, but to giving solutions. And I appreciated that. I do see we had one question about Signal Vine. Has anyone ever used, I don't know if you all use it at the food bank. I don't know if anyone's used it before. It is one I am not familiar with, so I cannot speak to it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one either. Now I'm kind of very curious to see what it is. I feel like most things I've at least heard of, so I'm surprised I've never never heard of that one. I am not familiar with that one. I'm not sure if Madison or any of my other colleagues here are familiar with it, but I am not familiar with that one.
Okay. We will do some research. It looks like it's a mass texting platform. Oh, that's fascinating. So two-way communication
cool.
for people that receive texts. Oh, that's a great one. We will certainly be looking into that.
Yes, about to say, I'm making a note of that one as well.
That could be great for some of the things we're hoping to do with the coalition as well. So thanks, Juliana. Learning something on lots of fronts today. Well, I am so grateful for your time, and any questions as we mentioned, we will send out all information afterwards, and certainly have all of our wonderful speakers' information at the end, so that you can reach out as well. But I am going to turn it over to my my wonderful partner, Taylor, who can, I think, be heard and seen and talk now. So I'm going to toss it to her for a quick intro, and then we'll get to Madison.
Thank you, Jenny. Can you guys hear me? Yay! It wouldn't be a meeting complete without technical issues during a pandemic, right? So, Liana, thank you for all of that insight. So glad to have your expertise on our team, because I am not social media savvy whatsoever. So good work. I wanted to quickly introduce Madison Messenger. She is our Child Programs Administrator for the North Texas Food Bank. She's one of my closest teammates, one of my favorite people on the planet. She is going to talk to you guys about our temporary school pantry. It is one of the many things that we have done since the onset of the pandemic to kind of meet the need of our community. It's one of the bigger shifts that we've made to serve school districts as a whole. And then she's also going to give you some extra resources. So the North Texas Food Bank has a couple of different teams. We've also got a nutrition team as well as a garden team. We also have our CPR team, and they've got a tremendous amount of resources in terms of pantries. And Madison is going to help you navigate our website so that way you can help share those resources out into your community, because sometimes it can be a little confusing because there's a lot of information. So Madison, I'm going to pass it to you.
Thank you, Taylor. Okay, hopefully, can everyone hear me? Yes, okay, awesome. All right, thanks. Okay, so we can go to the next slide. Okay, so Taylor already touched on this, but I'll start with a very brief overview of North Texas Food Bank, just in case there's anyone on this call who has not heard of us and isn't familiar with our work. I will talk about one of our success stories, one of our pandemic success stories. The real meat and potatoes of this, I think, will be the walkthrough of the website, just to make sure that you are really aware of all the resources that are on there and know how to use those different tools. Because it's one thing to say, oh, go to ntfb.org, but I really want to show you how impactful some of that stuff is. And then hopefully we'll have some time for Q&A. Next slide, please. Thank you. So NTFB is, of course, a hunger relief organization. We serve 13 counties in North Texas, which covers a span of 10,000 square miles. And we do that through a huge network of 200 plus partner agencies and 1,000 program sites. Those partner agencies are things like soup kitchens, food pantries, homeless shelters, things like that. And we are now up to over 200 of those. I think we might be around the 230 mark, but don't quote me on that. And then our programs, those are things like child programs, nutrition programs, and senior programs. So obviously have a lot of those program sites scattered throughout our 13 counties. And our main distribution center, our headquarters, is in Plano, Texas. All right, next slide. So we'll talk about temporary school pantry. Next slide, please. So Temporary School Pantry was a response to the COVID-19 pandemic, and we launched this in September 2020. This is a streamlined, large-scale, efficient version of our traditional school pantry model. Our traditional model, we work with individual campuses. It's a little more labor intensive, but it has all these really great community touch points to build a real sense of community around that pantry. But what we needed for the pandemic era was something larger, more efficient, very low touch, and something that we could offer on a bigger scale to our school districts, not necessarily campuses. So that's what we did with the Temporary School Pantry program. It is a monthly distribution. These are pop-ups, drive-throughs. They take place at district locations. So they could be schools or they could be warehouses, just any, really any location that the district deems, useful for their particular distribution. And this is a low touch model. It looks a lot like our mobile pantries, if you've seen pictures or videos of our mobile pantries in the news with all of those cars lined up. Families receive boxes of shelf-stable pantry items. Each box weighs between 20 and 25 pounds and contains things like oatmeal, cereal, dry pasta, dry rice, dry beans, canned fruit, canned veggies, canned protein, sometimes peanut butter. It's a really great mix of shelf-stable items that are going to last longer than produce, and they're going to help families get through the month. The nutritional contents of the boxes remain pretty consistent month over month. They always have generally the same amount of grains each month, but the specific items can change. So like, for example, you could have canned green beans one month and canned peas the next. And we are NTFB currently partners with 7 school districts for this temporary school pantry program. Our smallest is serving around 100 students per month, and our largest is serving over than 500 students per month. There is a little bit of work involved, but we think that we've created a program that has been very successful so far. The districts order their food through the NTFB website, Agency Express, and then the families have to complete a little bit of paperwork on the day of the distribution, and the district follows up with a monthly report to us. The future of this program is to be determined, but so far it has been super successful. It's here for the foreseeable future. Just like everybody else, we're staying flexible, we're staying ready to pivot, and this program has really done what we set out to do. So we're very excited about that because not every effort is successful. So things that we like about this, like I said, it's low touch, it's efficient, it's large scale, it serves the whole family. There's a lot of flexibility for the districts to distribute the food when they want, where they want, how they want. We really just give them the food, and then they get to kind of outline the parameters of what that distribution actually looks like so that it best suits them, their staff, their community, their students. And we have seen that it has been particularly successful with a lot of rural school districts because they have engaged the support of other local organizations, churches, and they've kind of built a network of local support around them, which has been very successful. Okay, perfect, thank you. So, oh yeah, go to the next slide, thanks. This is the menu. So I won't go into too much detail. You should get this in the slide deck after the meeting, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what is in these dry boxes. As you can see, there's grains, proteins, vegetables, and fruit in every one. And then you can get an idea of what types of items go in those categories and how many pounds of each category make up that 20 to 25 pounds. Okay, next. Okay, so we're going to do the NTFB walkthrough. Before I actually share my screen and click through the website, I'm actually just going to, we're going to talk through a couple of slides here, and I'm going to give you the links for everything that I show you. So if an hour or so from now, you forget, oh my gosh, what did she click on to get there? When you get this slide deck, you will actually have the direct links to everything I show you. So real quick, I'll tell you what each of these is. That top link is if you are looking for a partner agency. If you're looking for a partner agency, a food pantry, a soup kitchen, then you'll click on that top link. If you are interested in actually becoming a partner agency, then you can click, I've got those 2 little gray bullets there for you. If you are looking for our mobile pantry schedule, that bottom link will get you there. Go to the next slide. Don't worry, I'm actually going to click on all of this in a minute. The SNAP the SNAP resources that are on our website are these. We've got our call center. We do have bilingual folks. And I believe there's like a translator service that they use, so we can accommodate most languages there. There's also an email address, and if you would rather us reach out to you, you can fill out the contact form, or families can fill out the contact form on our website. Next slide. And then what I'll do is I'll end by walking you through some of the nutrition resources, our programs, our recipes, our cooking demos, and our garden videos. And down there at the bottom, if you have any questions for our nutrition team, I have our nutrition email address. Okay, so we're gonna do a little swap here, and I'm going to, thank you. All right, share my screen. Okay, let's see, Liana, I can see you. Can you do a thumbs up if you see ntfb.org? Are you there? Oh, no. Can anyone see ntfb.org? Let's try it again.
So my screen went black. I'm not really sure what happened.
Oh, that's interesting. Let's try it again. Anyone see it now? Oh, yay. Okay, I see a thumbs up. Thanks, Liana. Okay, so, oh, I gotta move everybody's lovely faces out of the way. Okay, so if you are, if you're someone looking for food assistance, or someone calls you looking for food assistance, or someone walks up to your desk and is looking for food assistance, we realize that not everybody has access to a computer and the internet, so you can always help, you can always kind of walk through the website and relay this information back to someone, say if you're on the phone with them. I know I get a lot of calls from folks who are saying, hey, where's the closest food pantry? So I will go on and I'll do this search that I'm about to show you, and then I'll just relay the information over the phone. So if you're looking for food assistance, you're going to go to ntfb.org, and there's this big orange button, Find Food. I'm going to click on it. And if you scroll down the page, there are a few things here. On the left, you see this search map. This is a map of all of our partner agencies. On the right, we've got the contact form that I mentioned. I believe this will go to our SNAP team, but they can also help redirect you if you're looking for something different. So if someone wants NTFB to reach out to them, you can fill out this contact form on their behalf. And if I scroll down a little more, I see more SNAP resources right here, the email address in the call center. So right here at the top of this page, there's a lot of great stuff. So I'm going to click on Search Map because I want to find some partner agencies. And I will point out here that this page can toggle between English and Spanish, so that is good to know. So let's say you've got a family on the phone, they're asking for resources. The partner agencies are always going to be the best first line of defense. This is where the food bank puts out like 80% of our food. So for consistent, reliable food for the whole family, the partner agencies is really where it's at. So, so first I would ask, what's your zip code? So I'm going to go ahead and put in my own zip code. 203, there we are. And depending on if the family is walking, has a car, is relying on public transportation, you might want to adjust this radius here. So it defaults at 5 miles, but I'm going to set it to 3 miles. So I want resources within 3 miles of my zip code. And then you saw the page refreshed, and I've got a map here with all of the resources, all of the partner agencies within 3 miles of my zip code. I can also scroll down the page and I can see the list right here. So as I'm scrolling through this list, I'll see the name, the address, and then some links, some helpful links for each one of those partner agencies. So for example, email, this one even links direct to the website. If I scroll down a little bit, this one even has more information. This one has business hours really readily available. So if you scroll through this list, you're going to see what is available. I'll also point out here that these categories are important to note. So for example, this one here is a homeless shelter, homeless shelter, homeless shelter. Down here, Golden Gate Arm is a food pantry, offers other assistance and senior programs. We've got another food pantry, we've got another food pantry, etc. So say you are really looking for something very specific. If I scroll back up the page, I can actually filter for that right up front. So if you know that this person on the phone is looking for a homeless shelter, I can click on type of assistance, homeless shelter, and it refreshed for me. Same thing, I can go back here, I can click on food pantry. or I can even, I think I even saw senior programs. I can click on senior programs. So this is a super easy to use, super awesome tool. Now I'm going to go back to the find food. So let's say, you know, you're still on the phone with this person. You've pointed them towards a partner agency where they could consistently have access to a food pantry. But let's say like they need food right now. Maybe they're looking for a mobile pantry. I'm going to go back to that orange button, find food. And I'm going to scroll further down the page. So I'm going to pass up the map and go further down the page to mobile pantry schedule right here. I'm going to click on that. And you can see right now we have 2 mobiles that are listed. This will update weekly, daily as we schedule new things. They'll show up as they happen, they'll disappear. So this is a great thing to keep coming back to. As you can see, there is no need to register for a mobile pantry. It's just first come, first serve. You do have to have a vehicle unless otherwise specified. So you can see here, this Turner Court says walk up. So this one, you don't have to be a vehicle, but our Savior, you would have to have a vehicle. And you can click on these for more information. So that is how you would search for food assistance resources. Now, if you want to become the food assistance resource, you want to become a partner agency. Let's say you have a little food pantry, you're interested in growing that and working in partnership with the food bank on growing that. What you will do is up here at the top, go to our feeding network, go down to partnership opportunities. And I just want to put in a reminder here, everything that I'm showing you today, you do have the direct link in the slide deck, so you don't have to remember all the clicking. Okay, so you're interested in becoming a partner agency. We went to feeding network, down to partnership opportunities. I'm going to scroll down to partner agency. And here you can learn about what it takes to join our network and the criteria that we are looking at. One other thing that you can do if you want to get a better sense of what it's like to be a partner agency, you can go over to our agency zone. These are links that are really geared towards existing agencies. But if you go down and you look at the FAQs, you can kind of click through these FAQs, and you'll get a better sense of really, you know, what are the types of things that agencies are doing? What are they asking? You know, what are those frequently asked questions? Okay. And the last thing that I will show you before we open it up to questions is I'm going to show you our nutrition resources. So we'll go back to our feeding network. I'm going to scroll down to nutrition resources, and I'm going to scroll down the page, and you can click through here to see all our different types of programs and offerings. Now, I want to show you right here our recipes. Oh, it's going to toggle away from me. I'm going to click on recipes. And these are so beautiful. I actually love looking at these pictures. So you can see we've got recipes. They're sorted by breakfast, snacks, and if I keep scrolling down, lunch and dinner. These are healthy, delicious, nutritious. I have personally tried some of them, and I am pretty useless in the kitchen. Even I could do it. So I highly recommend these recipes. And they are also available in English and Spanish. So I'm gonna go back to the nutrition services, and I'm gonna scroll down again, and I'm gonna keep toggling through this. Let's say you found a recipe you like, but you're like me and you really don't know what to do like with a whisk and like a mixing bowl. So you want a video. You're gonna go here to our cooking demos, and Kristen's gonna make a little guest appearance here. And these are videos of demonstrating how to make some of those recipes that you'll find on our website. These are also super cute videos, fun to just watch if you have a minute. Cooking demos. Okay, and the last thing, I'm going to go back to nutrition services one more time. If you are looking for garden resources, this right here, Jan's Garden, great place to click. Scroll down. We have even more videos here. So we've got garden videos. You can request a tour. You can learn about volunteering, request a workshop, and scroll down. And there's even some things like composting 101, container gardening 101. All sorts of fun stuff there. Okay, so that is what I had. I don't know, maybe I'll keep sharing my screen really briefly just in case anyone had questions about the website before I stop sharing. Anything? Let's see if there's anything in the chat.
Madison, I've been looking at the chat. I haven't seen anything, so feel free, anyone, to type it in, or if you want to come off mute and ask a quick question, feel free to do so.
Go ahead, and since we don't have any immediate questions about the website, I'll go ahead and stop sharing so Kristen can get back to.
Yeah, I will. Taylor just put what dish she likes. I will say that now I'm sufficiently hungry after seeing all those pictures, so thank you for that. Awesome. Okay, well, Madison, I think you answered everyone's questions. You did. You read their minds beforehand.
Perfect. All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you, Madison. Thank you so much for all the information. I know I have bugged Madison on multiple occasions trying to find out new ways to partner with the food bank. So it is exciting, all the great work that that they are doing, and grateful for the partnership. And now I'm going to go look at some of those recipes that I can make. Not right now, but later on today. Taylor, you know, this next part of it, we apologize. We were going to have a partner highlight, but something came up and they were unable, a couple was unable to join today. So we will save them for later, but wanted to really use this next bit of time to talk some strategy and to think through how we might be able to, you know, look at the future of our group and see how we can come together to really tackle some of the pressing issues that everyone is facing, and also just kind of find out what plans are. As I know it's February and I know it's kind of warm outside, but summer is not too far away, and wanted to kind of get some thoughts on that. So I'm going to hand it to Taylor because, again, she is the Padlet expert of the two of us for sure, and wanted to kind of go through this and give everyone some time to kind of give us their thoughts and feedback. So there'll be a time where we're not going to be talking, we're just going to be answering. So Taylor, I will give it to you and take it away.
Perfect. So disclaimer, I am not a Padlet expert, but I am familiar with Padlet. So we are going to use Padlet. It's a resource, kind of looks like sticky notes if you've ever used sticky notes before. But kind of like Jenny mentioned, we've been, you know, chat typically has a very specific mission. And we know what our goals are and where we need to rally. And right now, there are a lot of things up in the air. And so we just really want to know from you guys, and we've got a huge group of people here, a very diverse group of people, what your concerns are, what your needs are, what is sort of happening for your organization, what's upcoming that maybe would be good to know. So we are going to utilize Padlet for that. So you're going to see some questions or statements, and we would like for you guys to take a few minutes. We're going to give you, because there's quite a bit of content here. We would really like for all of you to, you know, answer and give us some feedback, because it'll really help us determine what direction we're going, and we may go in multiple directions, which will be even more exciting. So we're going to give you about 5 minutes. We'll stay quiet. We'll let you guys kind of tackle these. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we're going to just be quiet and kind of let you guys put your thoughts, concerns, fun things to use on Padlet. Okay? All right, I'm going to mute so we can all be quiet for a moment and put in our stuff. Okay, I appreciate all of the comments in the Padlet boxes. So we're just going to kind of go through them. Again, if there's anything else you guys need to add, put it into the chat and we will try to filter through this, but we will take this. We'll just quickly go through it this morning because we don't have a tremendous amount of time left. And then we will take it and kind of dissect it a little bit more with our broader chat team to make sure we are capturing and being mindful of all the things that are going on and the things you guys need. So let's just look at this first one. What are some successes at your site during this uncertain time? So I actually saw a few things about breakfast, which is fabulous. We all know how difficult breakfast is to serve, to get the kids to actually show up to site on time. So kudos for the increase in breakfast. We've been providing COVID-19 food aid through USDA Farm to Families boxes. We gave away $1 million worth of food in 2020, despite not having a food program prior to that time. That is amazing. I did not see who that belonged to. Oh, 4 Oak Cliff. Great job. That is amazing. So amazing. That's success right there. Adapting existing programs to make them larger scale, more efficient, low touch. Yes, 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 all of those things. Everything kind of exploded, but hands off, which was very difficult and exciting at the same time. We are offering breakfast and lunches daily for in-person learners, sending weekend meals home with any in-person learners that want them on Friday afternoons. That is wonderful. We know that those families need the food, whether they're virtual or in person, and especially over the weekend. So that is awesome. Tarrant Dallas Harris. I'm not really sure what that means. I'm guessing maybe just counties, but connecting to known resources in their communities, flexible grant funds to provide families with grocery gift cards for essentials. I love grocery gift cards. Those are so versatile and awesome. Good work there. We were able to provide boxed snacks and meals now on a consistent basis, and the residents who were reluctant in the beginning are now accepting the services. That is success. Getting people to kind of leave their pride at the door and say, I'm in need. Good work there. I don't know who did that, but I would love to hear how you kind of broke down some of those barriers, because sometimes that is the biggest battle or challenge that we all face, is just getting people to accept the help that we're offering. That is awesome. Oh, these just, besides that music, this all just made my whole day. This is great to hear all these wonderful things. Okay, so we'll move to the next one. How is learning structured in your district this school year? Fully in-person, virtual, hybrid, etc. Virtual and on-site, virtual and on-site. Oh, wow, that's a pretty good mix of 48 in-person, 52 virtual. That is interesting. I hadn't seen that close of a split before, so that's interesting. Hybrid for Oak Cliff. Oak Cliff is a nonprofit rather than a district, but our programs are mostly virtual right now. Yep, totally hear that. We do certain things in person, such as giving adults access to computers for GED classes. That's awesome. And tests and providing childcare for them when they're there. That is even more awesome. We plan to have a small summer camp at our new expanded facility this summer, and we will need to feed those children as well. That's awesome. I'm curious if the summer camp is a full day. Are you like extra limited to the number of kids that you can enroll? Are you going on like an A/B schedule? I would love to hear that. So maybe we can talk about that in a different period. Varies by district, lots of changes for families. We totally hear that. Residents choose which model they feel comfortable with. Mostly they're using the hybrid model. Yep. Hybrid mode. Follow-up question, what is your school district planning for the school calendar in 21-22? We asked this question because we have heard several districts say that they were really not going to support virtual learning, or they weren't going to encourage it, and that they potentially could go to a year-round calendar, which we think is interesting and exciting. And one, did we get a response there? No, maybe not. Okay, we can move on if we didn't. Maybe that's a question for next time. Maybe people are still kind of planning for that. Which meal programs are you operating or planning to operate during the 2021 school year? What service models are you using or planning to use in summer 2021? Currently using SFSP, may go back to NSLP unless Congress allows for further funding. Yeah, we are definitely all in favor of that funding and those waivers. I understand there are bills on the floor to allow for universal feeding, which is what we are all hoping for. Yep. currently operating SFSP at all campuses and CACFP separate at all elementary. Oh, I'd love to hear that after school feeding is still happening. That's wonderful. I didn't see anybody attached to that, but kudos for keeping that up, because we know how difficult it is, especially with the kids split between school, like in-person and virtual. That's awesome. Weekend backpack program and school pantries. Might have an affinity for those. Distribution. Fort Oak Cliff has been distributing USDA boxes from NTFB, Hunger Busters, and Services of Hope. Oh, I haven't heard of Services of Hope in forever, but we used to work with them a whole bunch. That's awesome. We want to continue to do this, but we also want to build out plans for a more long-term solution with a permanent food pantry and industrial kitchen within our new center. Oh, I love the idea of an industrial kitchen. That's awesome. And currently seeking out the partnerships that will support that process. We'd love to be sending home meals with families, with children for weekends, evenings, etc., on a daily basis, in addition to providing daily hot meals from our future soup kitchen when it's safe and feasible to do so. I love that. I love providing direct access to meals that are ready to eat, hot meals at that. So good work there. Summer 2021 will depend on what schools and districts themselves are doing. It would be great to have an overview of planned distributions for students and families for the summer. Let's see if we can scroll for planning purposes. Yep, we agree. That's why we're having this meeting, because we would love to just kind of pull all of that information together and really serve as a resource, so everyone's kind of in the know. Perfect. Love all of this. Next one is, what are some immediate concerns or needs your organization is facing since we last met? What additional guidance would be helpful? Understanding summer food service program, etc. Feeding and getting in contact with remote learners. Yeah, that's definitely a barrier. We are feeling that as well. We hear that loud and clear. For Oak Cliff's needs, we need to establish a permanent food pantry solution instead of the temporary distributions we have been able to provide. For this, we'll need access to cold and frozen food storage equipment, as well as political and funding allies. Yeah, that's always needed. Also, since we are not a school district, we aren't clear what meal programs we would have access to in order to feed young people that are part of our programming. Yeah, that's interesting. We can definitely talk about that in our next meeting. Or reach out to one of us, myself or Jenny, directly, and we can answer some of these questions. NTFB needs folks to promote, use the tools and resources on our website. Yes, thank you, Madison, for all of that. I always need those reminders, but those are also resources that each one of us, I'm in a room with several of my colleagues, and we all were like, yes, we use those things pretty much on a daily, if not weekly basis. So yes, please use our resources. That's why we've got them posted. Let's see. I'm trying, so someone else is scrolling for me. Thank you, Kristen, for that. I am lost. Oh, here we go. Okay. Many food and nutrition resources are available, not culturally appropriate, relevant to many immigrant populations that we, IRC, serve. Foods available at pantries are unfamiliar to clients. Nutrition education tends to have a very Western point of view. We hear that as well. That's something that our nutrition team is definitely looking at. You know, how do we provide a variety of different foods that, you know, work for all cultures, and then also providing some nutritional resources, so recipe cards, cooking demos, etc., for people that may not be familiar with some of the items that they're receiving, which we're getting really good feedback. So you guys use those if you have them. Or if you know of people or clients or people in your community that are in need of some of those, we are happy to share them. What resources have you found? Yes, looking for ways to introduce American produce to clients. Yeah. If there is anything in particular, we would love, just as a food bank, to hear those items. We don't know everything. We don't claim to know everything. So if there are certain produce items or, you know, prepackaged things that people may not be familiar with or know what to do with, please send us a note and say, hey, I have friends that don't know what to do with this. Can you help us? We are more than happy to create some resources. So next one, What resources have you found to be most helpful? Are there any resources that we could create that could be helpful? A one-pager of best practices, curbside feeding, etc. For Oak Cliff would love help figuring out how to best integrate our food relief work into the programs we provide. Best practices for curbside feeding, and any other support in this vulnerable time. We are moving into an 18,000 square foot facility, and we want to build out an industrial kitchen and food pantry space that would provide food for kids every day in our targeted zip code. Wow, for Oak Cliff, you guys have a huge plate, and it looks like you are working through it, and that is awesome. We definitely should talk and talk through some of those things, but this sounds like an awesome place for you guys to be located. We need contacts and connections with people who are experts in this, who can coach us in the process of building this out. We are thankful for all of that, because I think that's exactly what we were looking for. What things are you looking for that we can help to share out? So we can definitely do that. Perfect. All right, knowing school calendar schedules, which ISD are virtual, in-person, hybrid. Yep, we are working on creating a document that kind of outlines that for the larger ISDs. Perfect. Food demos that feature and include Black people. We have some of those on our website. We do. But that is always wonderful to hear. One pager and visual aids on what foods children can eat, infant, toddler, preschooler, healthy snacks. Perfect. Love it. Love that. Those are all things that we can do. Okay, I'm going to move this. And then I think last but not least, what type of support are you looking for? Need help with communications or marketing, looking for information on engaging the community, grant writing, fundraising, etc. So essentially, what can we provide that would help your organization be more successful? For Oak Cliff, fundraising, identifying funding opportunities and contacts, data tracking, best practices, building relationships within the food distribution, child nutrition space. Yes, I feel like we are missing out on so much networking opportunities because of the pandemic. Hopefully, these virtual things are taking off and creating a safe space for us to get to know each other, especially because there's so many people that are in this field that weren't, 9 months ago. So maybe we could host a little networking session. That might be nice. Partner, sustain our program's long-term support with measuring the food insecurity issues within our targeted super block. Getting the word out about the unique needs of our community. Yeah, love that. Fruits and vegetables, cold storage solutions, increase access to fresh fruits and vegetables to mitigate the health issues facing our community. Yeah, food storage, whether that be frozen or cold, just storage in general, can sometimes be very difficult for all of us. Yeah. So that might be about it. This is great information. It is awesome to hear all of the good things that you guys are doing, but then also hear what it is that we can do as a chat to kind of help bolster your connections or visibility to resources. So we will definitely take all of this information, slice it and dice it, and hopefully the next time we come together, have a more streamlined approach to what chat's doing and how we can serve as a more robust resource for you guys. Perfect. I love Padlet.
It's much cleaner than all the 45 Post-it notes I have on my desk.
Yes, and you can save it, which I love. Perfect. I'm going to look in the chat box and see if there were any other. I think we got to all the questions. Jenny, do you know if we missed anything? No,
I don't think so. I think we got to it, and I'm double checking though.
Perfect. Well, then I'll pass it back to you. We answered all the questions.
We did. Look at that. And in record time. Well, I I think we're going to be giving back some time for your, I'm sure, very busy day, but we just want to thank you for your participating in this. It is, I was thinking about the first time when we all came together, instead of Post-it notes on a computer, we had huge pieces of, the large Post-its stuck up on the wall. We were writing down ideas, thinking about finding connections and seeing what the needs were. And obviously it's just harder to do that right now. So we're grateful for your participation in Padlet and giving us an idea of how we can best support you all. Taylor's email, my email are on the screen right now. If when you're going throughout your day today or in the next few weeks, if something comes up that you think, oh, it would be really helpful to know X, Y, and Z, or how are people approaching this, please don't hesitate to reach out. We want to make sure that this space and this group is a great, is a help to everyone that needs it. And certainly, as Taylor mentioned, there are a lot more people in the food space now than there were just 12 months ago. So we also want to make sure that they know that this is a resource for them and get them engaged in this. So please don't hesitate to forward our meeting along to anyone you think would want to hear it. We will look over these and find some commonalities. It sounds like fundraising is certainly an issue, and so we want to spend our chat meetings with a little bit of time to tackle some of the tangible things we can tackle, like social media, like fundraising, any support we can give during those times, but also think of ways that our chat team can have a focus and to activate, to really use that word action that's in our name and really get to work to help our community. We know it looks different now, but excited for this, and I think we've got some great opportunities and some great ways that we can help in this virtual landscape that we're living in, and then be able to re-look at them again in a few months and make any changes necessary and really just find additional action points as we're moving along and adjusting. As I guess, Taylor, we talked about, we don't even really know what summer is going to look like, as many of you alluded to. So we're going to take it day by day, month by month, but please, again, reach out to us with anything that we can do. We're grateful for your time here. We're grateful for all of the wonderful work you're doing to help address hunger issues in our community that so many are facing. So thank you for your time. Again, reach out to us if we can help, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your day, and we will see you again soon.
Thanks, you guys.
Bye, everyone.